Fills out a comment card. Oh, Jeff was wonderful. He had all this wonderful knowledge, and she says, we loved it when he launched the Jeep. On the comment card, I'm going, oh, great. Half an hour later in the manager's office, you know. Like, yeah. You're welcome to fill out a comment card, but, you know, choose your words carefully on my benefit here. Now, of course, they don't start out with an ordinary Jeep. You know, like we talked about, 15, 16,000 grand.
Sure.
But all that fancy technical suspension really means nothing, you guys. It's really the driver that brings this whole experience together for you guys.
Funny how you mentioned that in the same sentence as the comment card.
Yeah, I'm taking all the credit I can get up here. Plus, it's hard to be humble when you're the best. You know? Words you can live by, guys, you know? I did notice that when I first started, you know, you're training, you know, a couple months of training, doing all this kind of, you sit as a passenger like 15 times, and you go like, God, these drivers are really stuck on themselves, you know? They think they're really good. And well, 3 years later, sure enough, I'm just like the rest of them.
You gotta feel good doing this. This is just nice. It's just
It is.
Now, I'll tell you, you know, drivers go through different, you know, just like in work, somebody has good days and bad days. Somebody has good weeks and bad weeks, and there's this one guy, Josh. I mean, he's like in a 3-month rut. He hates Sedona right now. I don't know, can't even really explain. He's like, I hate coming to Sedona. He lives in Flagstaff. You know, it's just, but if you don't jive and groove, you know, it just, it reflects, you know?
Yeah.
And you don't last long at that point. So if you can't get out of that rut, go on some cool trip, you know?
Yeah.
Do something to get back into gear. But he's more looking forward to snowboarding, I think, in Flagstaff this winter than he is driving Jeeps. But
I wonder what kind of winter they'll have.
I think they're skiing already. I saw a buddy of mine throwing some snowboards in his car. I'm like, all right, I guess they're snowboarding or whatever, skiing already.
They keep saying that, you know, I don't know, up in the Northwest, they're just saying it's going to be a longer and harder winter.
Okay, good news for skiers.
Yep.
And good news for wildflowers too, by the way. If you get a big hard snow, you get a great wildflower season in the Rockies. So
We've learned about that several years cycle with different plants and things too.
Yeah, those California poppies that just blank at the hills.
yeah.
In some years, nothing.
Yeah, you got to catch the 1 or 2 days that they're there.
Whoa.
A little buck in the horse.
I think I got airborne on that one.
Oh, when I was a kid, the back of the bus, we fought over getting the back of the bus. And back in the day, they had great springs in the seats of those old
Yeah,
public
right?
school
Yeah.
buses.
And you didn't have to wear seatbelts.
No seatbelts. So we had a good big rut in the thawing road and exaggerate the
Seems like I'm making it up here.
I know.
I think we can almost.
Hey, this looks like it's made for this.
If you go to YouTube, there's some famous videos. Pink Jeeps don't go down here, but you see the straddle move?
Uh-huh.
2 tires left, 2 tires right. If you're not perfect, your vehicle just goes bam, 90 degrees right on the side.
That's easy to do, too.
Yeah. If you're off by 6 inches, you're done.
So on YouTube, you can see that.
Yeah, you'll see videos of these Jeeps flipped on the side, the guys walking around, cussing, you know, smoking a cigarette. God damn, I can't believe, you know. And then you got a pink Jeep will come by and everybody will, you know, they'll be kind of laughing, but they don't want to say anything. You realize everybody's okay, but, you know.
So what piece of equipment comes back here to help right a Jeep that's on its side?
Yeah, rolled over Jeep, flipped or rolled.
People?
Pink Jeeps is required to maintain the trail. They're also required by permit to help stranded motorists.
Yeah.
So guess what? Our mechanics in that shed over there, got a 9-slip garage, beautiful garage. They'll come out here with an old Jeep and a winch on it, and they'll hook it on and bang. Flip it back,
flip it up?
drag it, flip it. They'll actually make them sign that they're not going to do any additional damage. If there is additional damage, it'll be minimized to the grass, whatever. They got, you know, a couple paragraphs from the lawyers. And typically they help these people for free unless they were being total rude, moronic a-holes, you know. Then they can charge up to $500 for the rescue service.
That's still that's
So, you know, say if you're out here and you get a dead battery, you know, you're like, oh God, dead battery, what now? You know, so you jump them, no charge, you know. You have a good day. But if you're being, you know, if you're driving off trail and going up through the vegetation and tearing it up, oh man, it's be $400 or $500. So, you know, it's kind of neat the way they operate that. Which means the next time you guys come up here, you can bring your, you know, your Subaru Outback, and we'll see you guys up here the next time.
For sure.
It is entertaining to see people out here for the first couple of, you know, first or second time, you know. Well, I think we're gonna make it. Yeehaw!
So we will feel like we had a mini workout because of our micro compensations. Is that what you say when we sail for a day?
Erwin, that's great.
Sailor, when you're in a Jeep, your muscles are always compensating because you have the
It's like being in the sailboat, like being in a boat.
and your body always wants the center. What the hell's the name? Jab. It's the little round thing that keeps you level.
Center of gravity.
No, I can't
Equilibrium.
no. That's what a G.
Another thing you can do too is you can flex your core, you know, your tummy muscles.
Yeah.
Flex that. Let the rest be loose and limber. Get your yoga workout by the end.
Not a GPS, but it's gyro. Yeah, you're on gyroscope in your body, and you have like you get a workout.
There's a bridge around here somewheres. Where that dang thing is.
What are we looking for?
There's a bridge. Highway to nowhere. Oh no, it looks, the bridge is out. We're gonna,
I don't remember this.
this doesn't look familiar to me either. Did you see the road split it all
There's
back
the bus
there?
stop here.
Yeah, the road's gone.
Well, it's a good thing we brought the Jeep, I'll say that
So
much.
you think your mom would be cool still?
She'd be 92 years old.
Yeah, she'd be fine.
She would be the toughest one in the car.
Well, she's
be
already
calling
got
everybody else
coral condition, and she's got the biceps ready to grab.
Unreal.
What do you guys call this again?
The road of no return.
This is like Devil's Staircase.
Yeah, Devil's Staircase, another one.
Sam, you did
Boy,
a good
the
job.
belts you have to have those belts on.
It kind of sounds like the
Or steering.
Titanic. You guys remember that unsinkable ship, right?
Yeah.
This Jeep will never flip over.
Because it doesn't look as
Yeah, we're with a couple of people that would like to see it.
Uh-oh.
We're game.
Like, all right, we'll own this company by the end of the day.
You say you used to have cabs. You ain't had Jeeps.
Well, I had that International Scout. It was at the time, and that was what early.
Yeah, those are
or
still
mid-70s.
classics. Yeah.
I had that
Mid-70s.
four-wheel
They're
drive
great.
Blazer. Bought that
It was
winch.
great. Yeah.
Those Scouts get like 5 miles to the gallon, I think.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, because they're like all steel tank, you
Yeah,
know.
but they,
Supposed to be a really great vehicle.
Oh, I pulled more Jeeps out than we were always farther than the Jeeps got. But then, you know, Jeep was making them.
Right? There's a lot of great vehicles out there,
Yeah.
especially nowadays, you know.
What really is? I mean, this
Whoa.
thing is incredible.
Yeah, this is highly modified and all that. If you start out, I'll tell you, that question comes up a lot. If you bought a Jeep Rubicon, put some good tires on it, that Jeep could do a lot.
The Rubicon.
Yeah, and the only difference between a Jeep Wrangler and a Jeep Rubicon means that Jeep, as a company, put $3,000 or $4,000 into that vehicle. They've done the dirty work, they've modified it, everything balances, everything matches in it, and that's really, I think, the Jeep of choice. You can get it in a 2-door or a 4-door, I suggest the 2-door. When you get into the 4-door, they stretch the wheelbase, and then you lose some of the good stuff. You know, then it's just like, well, it's nice to have 4 doors, but it's also nice to have the classic Jeep wheelbase, Rubicon. So that's what I suggest. You can get a cheap old beat up used Wrangler and get that for nothing, and then you can, if you have a mechanic or someone you know or trust that can do a lift, you can put a 4-inch lift in that, put a skid plate on it, you can do all that work, or you can just get one that's already done by Jeep Chrysler. So Rubicons are always more expensive, but It's the one to get.
Good.
Better built machine.